Hello, class. Sorry, I got kicked out. Can everyone hear me? I got kicked out of the class, but I think I should be back. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Sorry about that. I got kicked out. As I said, I'm going to transfer us to Zoom class. So yeah, let me transfer us to a Zoom class, because in a Zoom class, the class can be recorded, but on Google Chat, it cannot be recorded. So this is the link. I'm putting the Zoom class link in this chat box here. What's up? So that's the Zoom class. I've put the link in the chat box here. I'm also going to put the link in the... Right. Anyway, you can see the link. Please copy and join me in the Zoom class. Please, everyone, join me in the Zoom class. I can see some of you have already joined me in the Zoom class. Others are still... Yeah. When you join me in the Zoom class, you can close your Google chat room. Okay, I think everyone is here. Those of your peers that are not here, Laxmi, Anastasia, those of your peers that are not here, you can send them the Zoom link so that they know that they should join the class through the Zoom link and not the Google Chat link. So please send it out. I will include the link also in the SSY2 chat room. I can't get access to that right now, so let me... Okay, so where were we? We were on what is it that uniquely makes us citizens of the countries that we individually come from. And Letabo was just explaining that South Africans have a certain feature to them that makes them uniquely South African. But then I have my colleague in the social science faculty, Jared Jeffrey, who I'm sure he's taking you a class or two, and Jared Jeffrey is also South African. So let's get back to our discussion on Letabo. Does Jared Jeffrey have those features that you're talking about that makes someone uniquely South African? Does Jared share those features, Letabo?
Oh, no. Oh, no. I was talking about black. Sorry, no. White people, that's different. But yeah.
But you are
No,
all
he
South
does.
African. But you're all South African.
Yeah.
So what is that thing that makes you all uniquely South African? What is that biological trait that makes you all uniquely South African? Because you're all South Africans.
In that case, no, we don't have.
Laxmi, any biological trait that makes you all Ghanaians?
Um, um, Nothing that I really taken notice of. I can speak for the various ethnic groups, but um, to talk for Ghanaians as a whole is a bit difficult.
Okay. These various ethnic groups that you can speak for, don't they have some of these ethnic groups in other countries other than Ghana?
I think so, yes.
So if
Like,
some of the ethnic groups that are in Ghana are in other countries around Ghana, what the heck is it that makes them uniquely Ghanaian if they are also in other countries?
I suppose so.
Nothing. So this brings us back because I want to bring you all back to why I started this discussion in the first place. I started this discussion in the first place by saying the very first class we had was a class on the imagination. We talked about the imagination, and in writing your essay that you're going to submit next week, you need to really have a clear understanding of the imagination. I believe that the David Hume article that we read in that class really gives a good understanding. But obviously, as students, what you get in class is just a starting point. You ought to build on that. You ought to explore further in your own time, in your learning. But I get the impression after you've all submitted your presentations that there, there, there is there is a gap. There is You don't display sufficient understanding of the imagination. But we started with the imagination in the very first class, not because we are in a philosophy class. Philosophy, they deal a lot in trying to understand the imagination. Philosophy, psychology, not because we're in a philosophy class or in a psychology class, but because one of the first readings we did was the reading by Benedict Anderson about imagined communities. Benedict Anderson's reading on imagined communities. And in that reading on imagined communities is a book published by Benedict Anderson. We're supposed to have read the introduction and chapter 1 on imagined communities. In this book, Benedict Anderson argues that nations are imagined communities. Imagined communities because there is nothing intrinsic, there's nothing biological that brings us together under the canopy of a nation that we can point to. There's no one biological thing we can point to and say, this thing, everybody in Ghana share this specific biological trait. And because everybody in Ghana shares this specific biological trait, we are all uniquely Ghanaians. You cannot find this biological trait in anyone else in any part of the world. You only find this biological trait only in Ghana, or you find this biological trait only among South Africans. All South Africans have this biological trait. And if a new baby is born in South Africa today, that baby will come with this biological trait. Maybe every South African that is born has a birthmark on their right toe. So every South African you see, male or female, black or white, tall or short, fair or dark colored, they will have that specific birthmark on their right toe. Therefore, South Africans are unique with that. And again, this thing will tell you that no nation have those kinds of traits that you will say this is what makes us uniquely South African or American or British or German. We're born with it, unique. We come from our mother's wombs with that. No, 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 no. So if there's nothing uniquely biological that makes us citizens of a particular nation, we had that discussion in this class. So what are the things that makes us citizens of the particular countries we come from? What are the things that gives us that foundation, that confidence to say, I am a Kenyan. And that thing that is shared by every single Kenyan that says that they then say, I am a Kenyan. Every single Kenyan can say, I am a Kenyan because of this thing, or I am a South African because of this thing. We all share this thing. I'm a Nigerian, we all share this. I'm a Ghanaian, we all share this. This is why I am a Ghanaian. Who wants to go on that question? Tayani, if I recall, you're Zimbabwean, right? So what is the thing
Yeah.
that makes you and other Zimbabweans say, we're Zimbabweans? There are many, just name one, two, or three that every Zimbabwean will say, I'm Zimbabwean. Look, I have this thing, therefore I'm Zimbabwean.
Like in general, we're still talking biologically.
We have already established that biology does not make you a citizen of any country. So we've left biology.
I guess you could say people say good work ethic. Um, um,
I'm not quite sure all Zimbabweans share that.
um,
There are
I'm
things
not,
that all Zimbabweans will share, but I'm not quite sure good work ethic will cut across. There are lazy people in every nation. It can be think. Don't think it's a hard question. It's not a hard question. Elsie says the citizenship status. That's you're asking a question or you're making a comment, Elsie. As I said, the question I've just asked is not a hard question. It's a very simple question. What are the things that, if I'm a Nigerian, I can say every Nigerian has this thing in common? These are not hard questions. Don't think too deeply. It's not, I'm not asking a trick question or a philosophical question, just an everyday question. What is something that,
like
yes?
a passport, like a Nigerian or Zimbabwean passport.
Voila, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. A passport establishes citizenship. A passport establishes citizenship. Is there a citizen of Kenya that would be denied a Kenyan passport on a normal basis? Is there a citizen of Kenya that will be denied a Kenyan passport? Amy, Gatway, is there a citizen of Kenya that will be denied a Kenyan passport on a normal basis? Can't hear you, Amy. Amy says no. What other things? So a passport, yes, a passport. I'm South African. In Mauritius, I go out on the street in Mauritius and I say, I am South African. And then somebody walks up to me and say, prove it. I show my passport. But what other things are there? The common things. What other common things are there that you'd expect to see amongst Ghanaians? Laxmi, Wema. Common things that you'd expect to see among Ghanaians.
I suppose you can tell a Ghanaian by their name.
Probably, but that's a bit problematic because, as we said, there are ethnic groups that are in Ghana, but they're also in other countries and don't bear the same name. There are lots of names that Nigerians bear and Cameroonians bear. So if you see a name like Abdullahi Ibrahim, Kultum, Abdullahi Ibrahim, you can see that name and believe the person is Nigerian, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, you can see Abdullahi Ibrahim and the person could be Cameroonian. Is that not the case? Yeah. You can also see Abdullah Ibrahim, and the person is Cameroonian. Because there are groups, cultural groups, ethnic groups that are in Nigeria and they're in Cameroon because we share a common border. Shared language, Anastasia says shared language or cultural norms. Again, there are languages that cut across borders. There are languages that cut across borders. How many countries speak Swahili? East Africans in the class, how many countries speak Swahili? You don't have to be absolutely right. Just tell us how many countries you know that speak Swahili.
Three.
Name them.
Kenya, Tanzania, and the DRC.
Kenya, Tanzania, DRC. Okay. See, Amy just said Uganda also.
Yeah, I get that, but then even when you have several countries that have a shared language or they speak the same language, they have distinction within their countries that make the language still specific to them. It's like several island countries speak Creole, but Mauritian Creole and Guyanese Creole is not the same.
Okay. So there can be distinctions that can make you distinguish that, okay, this particular version of the language is from this particular place. This particular version of the language is from this specific place. You're right. You're absolutely right. But you know, the point behind all of this is that the things that make us unique citizens of specific countries. Hello? Yeah, just mute your mic. That's all. Everyone just needs to mute their mics. Yeah, good. So the things that make us uniquely citizens of the different countries we come from are things we create. They are things we create. They're not things that we're uniquely born with. Even the language you speak, you're not born with that language. You learn it. Language is a creation. Because as linguists will tell you, even though you think that your specific cultural language that you speak today, even though you might think that 100 years ago your cultural group spoke that specific language, linguists will tell you that that language has mutated over time, that language would have had things that have been added onto it over this 100-year period and things that have been left behind in that language over this 100-year period. Doesn't mean that the language is totally different from what they spoke 100 years ago, but it has mutated. There are some differences in that language. We are creative with language like that. So even language, you're not born with language, you learn it. So the things that make us citizens of a particular country, even members of a particular ethnic group, the things that make us belong to a group, a particular cultural group, or to a nation are things we create. There are things we create. There are things that become shared amongst us, but we have created those shared things that make us hold that we are together Kenyan, we are together Ghanaians, we are together South Africans. One of those things we create, we've just said it here, is the passport. Now, somebody might not have an emotional connection to their passport, But what are other kinds of things that we create that makes us citizens of the different nations we come from, but we have emotional attachment to those things. Even though we have created them, they didn't come naturally, we created them, but we have now developed emotional attachment to those things from the different countries we come from. What are some of those things? Something that fills you with pride. Oh, I'm Kenyan. This thing about Kenya fills me with pride. Or it could be this thing about Kenya. This thing is Kenyan and I'm not happy about it. What are things that we share as coming from a certain country that we have now developed emotional attachment towards? Flags, yeah, yeah. Staple foods is a bit problematic because at times the staple foods are really shared beyond your nation. You can say I'm Kenyan, I love chapati, but I'm not sure only Kenyans eat chapati as a staple. Or you can say I am Tanzanian, I love ugali, but I'm not really sure um, only Tanzanians eat ugali. So to use that broad category, staple food is not really appropriate, but you can identify specific foods. I agree. So don't say staple foods, name a specific kind of food that you can say this kind of food is uniquely Ghanaian, Nigerian. Okay, let me use this example, right? They would say Nigerian jollof is better than Ghanaian jollof. But is jollof rice something that Nigerians can claim that what makes Nigerians uniquely Nigerians is jollof rice? Can you really claim that, Kultum, that this makes you uniquely Nigerian because of jollof rice? Can you claim it?
No, can you repeat your question?
Can
I
you
didn't hear
claim
you.
that you're uniquely Nigerian because you eat jollof rice?
No, no, no. At the rate of things, the way things are going, everybody's having jollof rice in their country. So I don't think if you say you eat jollof rice, it does not make you uniquely Nigerian because there are other foods that that only Nigerians eat that you can't see in other countries. So I can't say that eating jollof rice actually makes you uniquely Nigerian.
Yeah, but you can say that it's a staple. So think really clearly on this issue of what is it that you can say, okay, this is Ghanaian. Don't use the word staple. So if we were to base this on food, right? What food is there in Ghana that as Ghanaians you can say, it doesn't mean you eat it because it's there in Ghana, but you can say that this food is something that is Ghanaian. Those from Ghana, help us here. Laxmi, Wema.
Wache?
I didn't get that.
Sorry, I said wache.
Thank you, Wema. You're not from Ghana. Who is from Ghana here? Help us out. What is the...
Anastasia said watch it. I think she's right.
Okay, I didn't really hear her clearly. Okay. I think she's right on that. Describe this food for us.
So it's rice and beans, but it's not like regular rice and beans like how the Jamaicans make. It's rice and beans with like an assortment of other things like spaghetti, gari, um, like salad. It's like an assortment of many other things.
Okay, great. What about kenke?
Oh yes, kenke is also Ghanaian. Yeah.
So you see, as I said, these are common things. It's just for you to think. It's the common things that you can pick on. Somebody said flags. Absolutely. You know, what about your national football team? The Black Stars. That's what the Ghanaian team is called, right?
Yes, the Black Stars.
Okay. In Kenya, it's Harambee, right? Kenyans. What's the national football team called?
Harambee Stars.
The Harambee Stars. South Africa, Bafana Bafana, right?
Yes.
So when you hear Bafana Bafana, Letabo, does it not evoke an emotional reaction from you?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Trigger, right? Hmm?
Yeah.
Sometimes these things can even trigger very, very strong emotional reaction. You know, but it's created. It's created. We created it. So that's why Benedict Anderson says that nations are imagined communities. At some point, some group of people came together. At some point, some group of people came together and said, this space that is occupied by so, so, and so, we're going to name it Kenya. Or this space that is occupied by so, so, and so, we're going to name it Ghana. Or this space that is occupied by so, so, and so, 200 different kinds of people, we're going to name it Nigeria. Is there any nation you come from that has a different kind of history, of a different kind of origin history, where the people just woke up one morning and discovered that this place we are actually inhabiting, by some natural phenomena, this place is Mauritius? Anyone from any country like that, where the people just discovered by some natural phenomena that this place is Zimbabwe or this place is Mauritius? Anyone? Share with us the origin story of your nation that, oh, it was so unique. You all just woke up one morning and discovered that, hey, this place was created with the name Mauritius stamped on it. Or this place was created with the name Democratic Republic of Congo stamped on it. To the grass. DRC, how did he get his name?
We went through a number of names, but I think it all stems from one of the prominent pre-colonial kingdoms that existed in that region, which is the Kingdom of Congo. And yeah, so after when Leopold II took it as his private property, the name Congo kind of stuck, because that's, I guess, the Kingdom of Congo was the kingdom that had the most relationships with the West, because it's the rest of the country is landlocked except for the region where the Kingdom of Congo was. So it was a point of entry. And so the name Congo kind of stuck from there. Yeah.
Okay, so you are a Congolese, right? To the grass.
I am.
Are you a Zairua?
I'm not. I wasn't even born.
Why are you not a Zairua? That used to be the name of your country.
No, I wasn't born when it was Zaire.
You were not born when it was Zaire.
I was born the year right after it changed. So yeah, I wasn't even born. I'm not as I was.
So you're not a Zairuas.
No.
And you have no feeling for that name Zairuas.
I have no, absolutely not. Because I think, and it's also based on the shameful story that comes with it. It was a period of, deep trauma for the country. So I really don't have any emotional attachment to it.
But when it was Zairuas, you had groups like TPOK Jazz who were playing wonderful music.
Yes, but I mean, yeah, maybe. Those are the good points about it. But yeah, other than that, I really don't have any deep connection with Zaire at all.
All right. I guess you all get the point right now that I'm making right here. Imagined communities. Our nations are imagined communities. We talk about the imagination in this class. Our nations are imagined communities. Imagined communities because at some point people sat down and said, this space, we're going to call it this. We're going to name it this. But it didn't just end there. If these people had said, they had said, this space, we're going to name this space Ghana. And then they come to that physical space and they tell all the people in that physical space, from today henceforth, this space that we occupy, we're going to name it Ghana. If those people who did that, they just left it at that. Oh, this space we occupy, we're going to name it Nigeria. This space we occupy, we're going to name it Zimbabwe. If those people just left it at that, they did nothing else, would the people living in that space develop any kind of attachment to that name Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria? If those who named these physical spaces just said, we're naming it Kenya, and they just left it at that, they did nothing else. They just said, well, would the people living in that space develop any attachment to that place? Kate, what do you think? Hello, Kate, are you with us? Amy Oklete, what do you think? That, some group of people just said, this place, we're going to call it Kenya or Nigeria or Ghana, and they just left it. They did nothing else. Would the people in that place develop any kind of attachment to that name, Ghana or Kenya or Nigeria?
I'm not exactly sure what you mean by do anything else. Like, I'm not really sure that they did anything in the first place for
Okay.
people to develop this sense of nationalism, at least in Ghana.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly
Sure
sure what you
anybody
mean.
did anything? You're not sure anybody did anything for people to develop a sense of attachment to that place called Ghana. Fair enough. That's a response. Who has a different response? You just tell people, oh, this place is called Mauritius, or this place is called South Africa, and nothing else was done to prompt people to develop any kind of sense of belonging or attachment to that place. You think people will develop a sense of attachment and be proud to say, I am proudly Mauritian or I am proudly South African?
No, I think I do think that to some extent things needed to be done to create this idea of belonging to a nation. Even more so in the case of Mauritius, because there was the native population. So we couldn't even say that like we were born here, so it makes sense. But we still belonging. So the entire sense of belonging from being Mauritian was created.
Okay. Rihanna, what do you think about that? What do you say?
I think that I have like a different view like about the sense of belonging. I we can like we can like born like, so let's say for example, like for me, I'm born in Madagascar. I've known a lot of Malagasy people that was born in Madagascar, but doesn't feel like being Malagasy or like feel any sense of belonging of the country. I think that is like a sense of it coming from like an educational from the parents, like If the parent if my parent doesn't educate me like to serve my country, to love my country, and to know more about my country, I don't know how to like how to belong, how to like to have this sense of belonging of my country. But personally, I'm from Madagascar. I'm a Malagasy. I'm proud to be to be a Malagasy because like from the best and the worst, I think that I think that yeah, I totally think like it depends it depends of the education and a personal feeling, like how do I feel about my country.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, yes, you're making some sense. Laxmi, your hand is up. Go ahead. And then Elsie.
Oh, I think I understood what you meant after you said a couple of things. So with Ghana, the name was changed from Gold Coast to Ghana after the country gained independence from the British. So in this sense, I would suppose that the name Ghana would sort of stir up some like sentiments of like national sovereignty and patriotism and like nationalism because that's when we gained independence from our colonial masters.
Okay, you say something very important, Laxmi, but I want to go to it and make you take a step back. The people who changed the name from Gold Coast to Ghana, did they have a purpose for doing that? Did they have a plan? Did they have a vision for doing that? Did they have something they were driving at in changing the name from Gold Coast to Ghana? Why did they do it? Laxmi.
Is it okay if I pass on the question to Amy because I think she wants to talk?
No, no, no. I want you to answer the question for Ghana. The people who I will get to Amy. The people who changed the name from Gold Coast to Ghana, did they have an objective in doing it?
Thanks, Amy. I think the objective was to detach themselves completely from that colonial era, I think.
Okay. And did they share that with the people in Gold Coast? Did they come out and tell the people in Gold Coast, this is why we are changing the name? Do you think they did that?
Yes, I think that was part of the speech, the famous speech that he made um, um, on 6 March 1957 when he went on to say, Ghana, your beloved country is free. Amy, if you can back me up. Yeah, it was part of the speech.
Beautiful. Amy, continue from there.
Yeah. So what I was going to add on is that I think a sense of nationalism in a way had, or at least nationality, had been developed even before Ghana gained independence, and the name was changed from Gold Coast to Ghana, because like I was reading on how Ghana became Ghana, and it was put together by the British. So, like, territorial borders and stuff were already established. So, people knew themselves as belonging to Gold Coast. But I do agree with Lakshmi because changing the name to Ghana did give the people a sense of independence, sovereignty, pride,
Yeah,
especially since Ghana was the first, I think, sub-Saharan African country to gain independence. So it was like a sense of overwhelming pride for people.
fantastic. Amy. So my question again is this: the people who decided to change the name in Ghana, did they have a plan? Did they have an objective towards changing that name? Or they just woke up one morning and decided to change it?
Oh no, they definitely had a plan. She mentioned the speech
Yeah.
that Kwame Nkrumah gave when Ghana gave independence, and I think he said, "Ghana, our beloved country, is free forever." It was supposed to give people like a sense of pride, like, "Oh, we've done it. We have finally done it, and now we have changed our name. We have claimed a name that we chose, not like the colonial masters chose for us."
Yeah.
Because I think Gold Coast was given to Ghana by the Europeans.
Yeah. So there was a design behind it. There was a
Yeah,
purpose behind it. And then it was sold to the people.
yeah, definitely.
It was sold to the people. Just like Tuttegras said, Zaire was changed from Zaire to Democratic Republic of Congo. When the name was changed from Zaire to Democratic Republic of Congo, it was sold to the people. The people who changed it to the Democratic Republic of Congo didn't just sign a paper and announce it on radio. It was sold to the people. Oh, we're going from this to this for this reason. And the people bought into the vision. Just like Upper Volta. What is Upper Volta today? Those who know the country that used to be called Upper Volta, what is it called today? Wema? Upper Volta, what is it called today?
Isn't it Burkina Faso? No.
I asked Wema.
Sorry.
Wema, I'm still waiting for you. Wema has decided to go missing. But it wasn't missing when I said, oh, Wema, I think you're from Ghana. He was like, no, 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 I'm not from Ghana. I'm not from Ghana. How can you say I'm Ghanaian? Wema was quite like, power to the people there, Wema. But now, who was Burkina Faso and what is Burkina Faso today? I get no response from Wema. You're right, to the grass, I suppose. It's Burkina Faso. It used to be Upper Volta. Now, can anyone tell me why it was called Upper Volta? Amy Oklete, any idea why it was called Upper Volta?
I'm going to take a guess. I know there's a river called Volta River, so maybe it was like the upper part of the.
Good. It was the upper part of the Volta River, the upper catchment of the Volta River. Upper Volta. If they wanted to name Lower Volta, who do you think they would have named as Lower Volta? Which country would they have probably called Lower Volta? If there was Upper Volta, who would they have probably called Lower Volta? If they didn't have a better name, they thought they would give that territory. Does the Volta not come into Ghana?
Oh, yes, it does.
Oh, yes, it does. Huh? Laxmi, I should be knowing your history more than you.
I mean, technically, yes, because you specialized in this field.
Technically, yes. Okay. So you got Upper Volta, the upper catchment of the Volta. And of course, you got the lower catchment of the Volta that comes into Ghana. But of course, they prefer to give Ghana Gold Coast because of the gold mining, by the coastal areas, the Ashanti region, Gold Coast, you see. So Upper Volta, the country, and Thomas Sankara came into power and decided that, again, like Ghana, Upper Volta is a colonial thing. We are proud, we are a proud people, we are an upright people, we're a righteous people. So we're going to call ourselves Burkina Faso, land of the righteous people. Burkina Faso. So he sold the vision to the people. Again, let's come back to imagined communities. The nations we come from, we create these nations. When I say we, it includes those we consider the fathers of the nation. Nkrumah for Ghana, Kenyatta for Kenya, and all that. We create these nations. They are not a given. They did not drop from the sky. We create them. And we use various instruments to create the nation. The one that we commonly know as an instrument we use in creating the nation is maps. So you talk about the boundaries and all that. Everybody knows about that, maps. Everyone is very familiar with that, maps. we take maps as a given, but maps are not a given. Maps are by design. It's just that we think that, oh, this is the territory. Oh, this is what Ghana looks like. It was created. Those territorial boundaries were created. Oh, this is what Kenya looks like. Those territorial boundaries were created at some point in time. Today, you and I may take it for granted, but they were created. The territorial boundaries, they were created. Tanzania, Rwanda, Nigeria, Egypt, Libya, Morocco, those territorial boundaries were created. They didn't drop from the sky. They were created by design. It was by design. But we go beyond creating the maps and the territorial boundaries. We create the culture of the nation. I'm not talking about your specific ethnic group. I'm not talking about your specific ethnic group you come from. I'm talking about the culture of the nation. We create it. The culture of the nation. We create it. It's not a given from heaven or from wherever. The culture of the nation, we create that culture. What are some of the things we do in our countries that we can point to as a culture of our nation that we have created? Not your specific ethnic group. Note, the culture of the nation that we have created. What are some of these things? Anyone? Ideas? Culture of the nation that we have created. Again, don't think too deeply about this. There are things you know. There are things that are happening around you all the time. Culture of the nations that we have created. Something that we now all do. But it's something that we have created. There are some that are common to almost every African country. Culture of the nation that we are the ones who have created it. But everyone that takes part in it, everybody feels good about it. But it's a culture to the nation that we have created. Elsie, ideas. A culture to the nation that we have created. They're common things. It's not a trick question. Again, to say music, traditional dances is too vague. I want you to mention something specific to your nation that is a culture of your nation that you have created. Okay, Sega, we can take that because all Mauritians sort of feel a sense of pride over Sega. Some may not, but I think in general, all Mauritians tend to sort of feel a sense of pride. More from others, a culture to our nation that we have created. Wema, help us here. Participate in the class, Wema. A culture to our nations that we have created. There are many things. There are many things.
Oh, no. I want to say Gengeton, which is else can better elaborate on that culture.
I know Gengeton.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Mauritians saying Sega, but the Gengeton is more rebellious in terms of the musical style.
Well, yeah. So it's a culture that was recently created. So yeah.
But I'm not sure it's a national culture. Talking of something that can be national. Yamachoma. That is just roasted meat, right? So
there's culture with it. Don't get it wrong.
It's a culture, yes, but is it a Nairobi culture or is it a Kenyan culture? Yamachoma.
Kenyan for sure. Kenyan for sure. Christmas, weekends, anytime for celebration, you're having Yamachoma, which is basically just barbecue.
Yeah, roasted meat.
Yeah.
Understand it. Yeah, Yamachoma. Yeah. What about your national day? I assume everybody understands what I mean by your national day. Class, speak to me. Your national day. Is it not a culture you've created in your nation?
The celebration for Independence Day.
Yeah, Independence Day. Yeah, Independence Day, National Day.
Freedom's Day.
What
So
do
when
Letabo?
Oh, we have Freedom's Day.
Freedom Day. That's what you call it.
Yeah, we have Freedom's Day. It's coming up, I think, next week. Oh my, it's no, the week after next week. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Fantastic. Our national anthem. Absolutely. Independence Day, our national anthem. The day Parliament opens in some countries, it's celebrated. In South Africa, the opening of Parliament is celebrated, right, Letabo?
Yeah.
People wear colorful clothes, right?
Yeah, and then they also, I think, perform even when they get in and stuff. So it's something to watch. It's a nice
national culture. National culture in South Africa, because I can tell you that it's not in every African country that the opening of Parliament is celebrated. In Kenya, is the opening of Parliament celebrated? Kenyans in the class, do you see anything like that where you celebrate the opening of Parliament every year? Kenyans. What about in Ghana? Do you guys see anything like celebrating the opening of Parliament in Ghana?
No, I don't think so.
The parliamentarians are probably stoning one another. Yeah. So you can see we have national cultures that we have created. Yeah. A lot of countries have Youth Day. Do you celebrate Youth Day in your own countries?
Yeah.
In Cameroon, Youth Day is very big, very, very big. See, it's in fact, most of us from Cameroon, we have stories of Youth Day, because Youth Day, all the children go to the field all across Cameroon to go march, hear stories. You wear your clean uniform and your clean socks, and they give you some money, and you go buy your ice cream and all of that stuff. So almost every Cameroonian, if you know a Cameroonian who grew up in Cameroon, ask them about Youth Day.
So in terms of holidays, it's like for Kenya is Mashuja like day concept, because I don't think I've seen any other country celebrating Mashuja. Mashuja means Heroes Day.
Yeah. People can still celebrate it in other countries, but it's that it's your national culture. You've accepted it as a national culture. So Kenya, Heroes Day, yeah, it's a national culture. Something you put together, you celebrate. Now, what is the reason for all these national cultural things? Why do you think we do them? Why do you think those who invented them? Because they were invented. Why do you think these different kind of national cultures were invented? You know, why is it in South Africa they celebrate opening of Parliament? Why does it mean so much to them? Why is it that in Kenya they celebrate Heroes Day? Why does it mean so much to them? Why do you think these things were invented?
To create unity.
Anastasia, what did you say?
To create a notion of unity, something that could bound everyone together.
Yes, to create a notion of unity. To create a notion of unity. You're absolutely right. I'll ask a follow-up question to that. Why do you think the nations we come from, or any other nation in the world, think that they've got to do things that create a notion of unity? Why do nations think they have to do things that create a notion of unity? Amy Gaturi, why do you think nations do things that they believe will create a sense of unity? Amy Gaturi. Why do nations do things to create a sense of unity? Again, it's not a trick question. These are things you actually know. It's just to think about articulating. Why do nations do things to create a sense of national unity? Tayani?
Um, mm, to Yeah, actually. I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
Okay. Why do you eat nutritious food?
Because it's good for you. It's healthy for you.
So why do nations do things to create a sense of national unity?
To promote the sort of health of the country.
Yeah. It's precisely because people are not united. It's just it. The people who they brought together under that territory called Kenya, they're not united. They're not united. But when they put them together to say this is Kenya, this is Ghana, this is Nigeria, they're not united. Is it not true? To the grass, is it not true? The people in DRC, are they united just because they are DRC?
That's true. They are not united just because they're in DRC.
They are united. There is no nation that is united. Just by the mere fact that you got millions of people, hundreds, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and sometimes people from different cultural groups and all that. Sometimes some of them were forced together before they were made a nation. Are they united? Anastasia, are Mauritians united?
That's a trick question.
It's not a trick question. It's a straightforward question.
That's a very tricky question.
It's not a tricky question. It's a very straightforward question. Are Mauritians united? We are scholars. We are scholars. We have to face things head on because we are scholars.
Over important issues, they can be, but like on a daily basis, there's a lot of division.
We're not united. It's not just Mauritius. It's everywhere. Ghana, Nigeria. We're not united. In that territory, we're not naturally united. Because naturally speaking, is there anything to unite us, naturally speaking? Laxmi, is there anything to unite us, naturally speaking? Laxmi?
Yes, sir. Could you please repeat the question?
Is there anything to unite us in these territories we inhabit? Naturally speaking, is there anything to unite us in these territories we inhabit?
I'm not really sure what you mean by naturally.
If governments don't go out of their way to create a sense of unity, is there anything that will unite us naturally on its own?
Naturally.
If we don't make the effort at national unity, is there anything that will unite the nation if the nation does not make the effort at national unity?
I'm not sure.
Don't just think of it as only of Ghana. Think of different countries in the world. If the citizens of those countries, the leaders of those countries, don't go out of their way to do things to bring people together, to try and make people unite for a common cause, is there any natural phenomena that will just make the people united?
Yeah, I suppose besides like government orchestrated events, there's also things like soccer games that could unite the country.
And soccer games are not government orchestrated?
They are. Never mind.
We are an imagined community of people with different interests. Again, back to Benedict Anderson. Benedict Anderson said, when people are in a territory, you've got different kinds of people, different kinds of interests. They want to go in 1 million directions. It's part of the job of leadership to develop programs physical programs like games, civic programs like lessons you learn in class, the anthem, the flag, to develop things that will build a sense of oneness. A sense of oneness. Imagined communities. A sense of oneness. So I've spent a lot of time talking to you about imagination, imagined communities, and how nations are not naturally united together and all that. They are put together by us, people, right from the boundaries of the nation. They are put together by us to the national cultures celebrated all across the nation. They are put together by us. That's why nations are called imagined communities. Nothing naturally binds us together. The things that we think are binding us together are things we have created. And where is the seat of creation? Where is the seat of creativity? Rihanna, where is the seat of creativity? Is the seat of creativity in the person, in the person's hands, in the person's legs? Where is the seat of creativity in the person, in the human person? Where is the seat of creativity? Who wants to go with that? Who wants to give a response? Where is the seat of creativity?
Mind.
In the mind. The seat of creativity is the mind. The seat of creativity is the mind. The seat of creativity is the mind. Everything we do, building a nation together, building relationships, the seat of creativity is the mind. And when we think of creativity, we normally want to think of artwork. But when leaders sit and they say, you know what, we are going to institute a Heroes Day, they are being creative. It's coming from the mind. They are putting in place something that didn't exist before. It's coming from the mind. And the entire mechanism behind creativity is the imagination. If the capacity of your mind to imagine is taken away, automatically you stop being creative. If your ability to imagine, your capacity to imagine, if it is taken away from you, automatically you stop being creative. You cannot produce anything new if your capacity to imagine is taken away from you. So to imagine is not just to dream up a fantasy or a fiction. To imagine is to think, is to have ideas. You take what exists and it goes through something in your mind, whereby something else can come from it. A simple way is creativity. A simple word is creativity. But imagination goes beyond just creativity. But the creative faculty is involved. That's why it's not just fantasy. It's not just daydreaming. It's recreating, remaking. When we did the class on China, I said something when we did the class on China. I talked about how China is reimagining the world. China is reimagining the world. You saw the Belt and Road Initiative, China's global geostrategic plan. And I said to you, China is reimagining the world. China is reimagining the world. The Mauritian government does a lot to reimagine Mauritius from after independence, because Mauritius was in a certain way before independence, and from after independence, they've been doing a lot to reimagine Mauritius. Just like our different nations we come from. After independence, our leaders have been doing a lot to reimagine the nation. They do a lot of this reimagining towards serving unity, yes. But there's a lot of reimagining going on. Letabo, what are some of the things you think your leaders in South Africa are doing to reimagine South Africa? It's not a trick question. Don't think too deeply. You're South African. You see the things going on. What are some of the things you think government in South Africa is doing? Or even independent parties. There can be people who are interested in helping out. What are some of the things going on to reimagine a better South Africa?
It's a small project. I don't know if this would classify as that, but I know they're trying to introduce smart cities and the smart cities within South Africa to help trade and provide homes and all that. So I don't know if that classifies, but that's something that just popped into my mind.
It's a reimagination. It didn't exist before, and it's towards a cause. Think back to when we did China, and we had that Indian lady from that Indian broadcasting, firm do that expose on China, and the sort of way she did that expose on China. So China is reimagining the world. China is reimagining the world. But think back to that expose that lady did. How do you think that lady wants us to imagine China? China is reimagining the world. They are doing their own things, imagining the world. But from the way the lady did that expose on China, how do you think that lady wants us to imagine China? To the grass. I remember you were very strong on that. How do you think that lady wants us to imagine China?
I think as a country to be wary of, because the way she presented it was like, China has this big scary plan of taking over the world. We should watch out. And yeah,
exactly.
I think.
So you could, there was an intention there in the way it was presented. It was presented as though I'm just presenting facts, but you can see that it went just beyond presenting facts by different kinds of mannerisms and all that. There was something being communicated. And part of that thing being communicated is actually to affect my mind and yours in the way we imagine China. Don't just admire that they're trying to reimagine the world. It might not be good for you. It might not be good for you. So you got to think about this. And when you're thinking about your essay, and the essay question about The Economist said, Africa, the hopeless continent in 2000. Then I think 2010, Africa rising. There's something going on there. There are imaginings going on there. There are imaginings going on there. And there are causes to those kinds of imaginations that the producers of The Economist may hold. There are reasons. And you might be able to get at those reasons when you read those articles and you go to The Economist magazines that were those particular editions that were published, and you read the whole thing and you ask yourself, what is going on here? What is the imagination I am seeing from here? And where do I think this imagination is coming from? What kind of creative ways are they using language? What are they trying to do here? Why are they speaking this way? Even if you think that when they say Africa rising, even if you think that, oh, they are speaking positively about Africa now, they are praising Africa now, is there something behind it? You got to get at the imaginings. You look at that lady as she did her presentation, and you could be like, wow, she's really giving it about the great things China is doing. But when you think back to the imagining, what is going on here beyond what she is doing? What is going on? There's something going on. You get at the subsurface, the imaginings behind all of it. The leaders who changed Gold Coast to Ghana, there was something there. There was an imagination there. And they sold it to the Ghanaian people. And the Ghanaian people bought into it. The imagination, huge. I asked you all to download the reading. You're not going to read it all in this class. In fact, you're only going to read the introduction. It's really the introduction is beautiful. Just going to give you, well, let me see, not more than 20 minutes to do this. You know, the article says the imagination, human development, and the importance of the story, the importance of selling this thing, the importance of the story. Yeah. And I only want you to do the introduction because it's really beautiful. Let me just get where I want you to stop as you read that. Okay, so there's a cover page. Forget about the cover page. That's the page we're on, the cover page. But there's the actual starting page of this. There's the starting page, and then it goes to the second page. All right. So let me share my screen and show you what I'm talking about, what I want you to do with this article that I've given you. So can everyone see my screen? Class, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. So let me just show you what I want you to do. So this is the cover page. Read about the cover page. So this is the starting page of the article. I want you to read all of that. You know, it says imagination, a human phenomenon. I want you to read all of that and stop here. Imagination and human development. So don't go into imagination and human development. So basically just, you know, as I said, the introduction, the first 2 pages, you're starting from here and you're basically just reading imagination, a human phenomenon. That is just what I want you to read. Imagination, a human phenomenon. That's just what I want you to read. So don't read imagination, human development in class, but you can read it after class. Is this clear to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got 20 minutes to do this, to read, discuss. 20 minutes and then we come together, you know? So I'm going to put you into 3 rooms and you've got 20 minutes to discuss that. Let's go. And then we'll come together and we'll just take some questions and wrap up. But again, always after the class, you can always book office hours with me to discuss further if you want to, if you've got questions. Your class has been the least, I mean, you'll be bottom of the ladder in terms of classes who've reached out to me for office hours and things like that. I can't understand why. Perhaps you're also brilliant, which would be a great thing. So 3 breakout rooms, read just the first section, discuss it, and we'll get back together in 20 minutes. Please join your breakout rooms. Join your breakout rooms. Rihanna, join your breakout room. All right, thank you all for staying to the end. And we have come to the end. So room one, can we hear from you on your takeaway from what you have just read and discussed, hopefully? Room one, Elsie, Letabo.
Hi. We talked about how the article was, like, how the introduction was centered up in explaining how imagination is central in a lot of human thinking and a lot of human progress. And it also talked about how schools of thought have for years ignored the study of imagination, even though it is that much central to even those school of thoughts. And the article also mentioned that it separates Homo sapiens from other species.
I've lost you, Elsie. Can't hear you.
I think she's out of the call. I'll take over. So it mentioned how.
Sorry, I was kicked out for a
hello?
second. Is someone else speaking?
Yeah, I jumped in for you, Elsie, don't worry. So we also discussed how the article talks about how imagination separates Homo sapiens from any other species of animals, and how you can't be fully human unless you have developed your sense of imagination. And there's also a part where they spoke about how sad it is if a person doesn't have that ability to imagine. So yeah, that's what we discussed.
Okay, thank you. Remember I did say if your imagination is taken away from you, it'll be tragic if you were to lose your imagination, your creativity, ability to do things new would almost be gone. Room two, Emi Gatwi, Emi Oklete, Tayani, Tutagras. What you got for us?
Yes, so we had a discussion in our group regarding something that was said in the text that I personally didn't agree with, and I think we questioned it together as a group, is the fact that the text says that there would be no stories without the ability to imagine, and we feel like it's the opposite. Somewhere in the text, it also says that imagination can be crippled or starved, which means to us that outside factors can, affect imagination. So if an outside factor can starve my imagination, an outside factor has to be able to spark it as well, right? So I feel like it's the opposite. We wanted to bring it up to hear what you have to say and the rest of the class, but we feel like stories come before imagination. For me to create a picture of something in my mind, I have to hear of it, at least have some form of experience, whether it's through a story or to see, but I have to have a form of experience first with the concept of that thing in whatever form it is, for me to be able to imagine anything relating to it. I have personally never been to the North Pole, but I've heard a lot of stories about it, how it's all white because of the snow and there are polar bears there. How can I imagine a polar bear if I've never heard that polar bears exist somewhere in the North Pole? It's the story that has been brought to me about, polar bears that have made me come to imagine it. And even in the case of fantasy, I gave the example of unicorns. If it's the first time ever I'm telling the story of a unicorn, the first fantasy ever made about unicorns, I think that person at some point has had to have seen horses and horns, and in his mind said, oh, what if I put horses and horns together, and created the concept of unicorns. So that can apply even in fantasy. I feel like you have to have had an experience first before having imagination, and not the opposite. And the text is presenting it as if it's the opposite. And that's where I'm having a struggle with this conversation on imagination.
Okay, so the person who told the first story, whoever that was in humanity, the person who told the first story, what came first, the story or the person's imagination?
The experience that created the story. All I'm saying is the story has to come from experience somewhere. I do not think that the mind can completely make up something,
Follow me.
From scratch.
To the grass, follow me, and follow me from one step to the next. The person who told the first story, what came first, the story the person told or the person's imagination? Stick to story, we will get to experience. They're not the same thing. Stick to story first, then we'll get to experience. So the person who told the first story and the person's imagination, what came first?
Imagination, is it?
Imagination came first. Now, when you now move on to experience, again, you must remember the different things you have read and put everything in their context. When you read The Imagination by David Hume made it very clear that while your mind has the imaginative process, your mind is fed by external stimuli. Your mind has the imaginative process. Your mind is the imaginative machine. But that machine has to be fed by external stimulus. That external stimulus is what you call experience. In part of David Hume's writing, he talked about impressions. Impressions have to be made on the mind. Those impressions come from experience. For some people, the experience is observations. For some people, the experience is hearing a story. So yes, your mind is fed by experiences. But the machine, the imaginative machine is there. You are born with the imaginative machine. The imaginative machine is now fed by stimuli. So the imaginative machine comes first, then the stimuli that then gets fed into the imaginative machine. So it's the same for you and it's the same for me. My imaginative machine cranks up when somebody starts telling a story about the North Pole. My imaginative machine cranks up when somebody starts telling a story about a unicorn. But the story itself does not create the imaginative machine. Is that a bit clearer, Tuttegras?
Right. Yeah. I think the confusion here, I feel like, just to make sure that I understand, from what you're saying, the ability to imagine, or what you call the imaginative machine, is not the same thing as imagination.
Of course, the machine is there. Then the machine has to work. The machine has to be cranked up. It is cranked up by experiences, what David Hume calls impressions. What you are looking at as experience, observations, voice, pain, joy, sorrow, story. So between the imaginative machine and the story, the imaginative machine came first.
Right.
Then the story proceeded from external stimuli like observations, traveling, and the likes. But without those stimuli, the imaginative machine is starved. Without those stimuli, the imaginative machine is starved. Remember the email I wrote all of you, and I told you all read that email over and over again, where I talked about how the beginning of every fiction and fantasy is reality. Every fiction and fantasy anybody has ever dreamt about first starts from reality, first starts from the things they have observed, first starts from the impressions that have been left on their mind by these stimuli. Every fiction. There's no fiction that is completely 100% fiction. Every fiction and fantasy first starts from reality, first starts from stimuli that has been fed into your imaginative machine. Every fiction. So there's the imaginative machine. It can be starved when there are no stimulants to that machine. The more there are stimulants to that machine, the more the machine, becomes better at the imaginative process. It's got to be cranked up. When it's not, you get starved. Room 3, let's hear from you before we wrap up for the day. Anastasia, Mara.
When we were reading, our shared conclusion or understanding of the reading was how imagination is a tool. So imagination is the foundation for a lot of, if not everything. And it is a tool like any other, and it depends on the person who uses it and how it will manifest through that person. So that was our understanding of what she was trying to come across in the, so there can be good, positive, or negative consequences, but it all depends on the person. Yes.
Fantastic. Though it's not a tool like the hoe or the hammer, but yes, it's I said previously, the imaginative machine, the imaginative process, the imaginative phenomenon. It's a phenomenon in the philosophical sense of the word, the imaginative phenomenon in us as humans. It's got to be fed. And then it goes into its own processes. Of course, my personality also fits into that. So the imaginative machine is not only cranked up by external stimuli, but my personality also fits into it. That then takes all these things and juggles it and then churns out something new. And we say, wow, I didn't know that waste bottles can be taken and put together and used to make this marvelous thing I'm seeing here. My personality goes into it, external stimuli goes into it. It can be starved, it can be frustrated, it can be, sort of sealed in a bottle, though someday it may burst the bottle and all of this. I hope that through this class, we may not all be at the place where we say we totally fully get it at the imagination, but I hope that through this class, we are at a better place with respect to understanding the imagination. Litabo, what do you say? Are you at a better place with respect to understanding the imagination?
Yes.
And I hope it will also help you in your essay with respect to being at a better place with respect to understanding the imagination. It's something we keep studying. Even myself, where I am, keep studying to understand. Anastasia, are you at a better place with respect to understanding the imagination?
Yes, I think so.
Great. Tutagras, a better place?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, great. I hope as you tackle your essay to be submitted midnight Friday Mauritius time next week, this would help you as you walk through it. You can get back to me by email, the Google chat, and you want further clarification and all that, and I'll absolutely be there. I will put this video up in a couple of days or over the weekend, but the video will definitely be up by Monday next week so that you can relieve some of all that we have discussed today. Thank you all for making it to the class, and Have a fantastic week, you all.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.